Has Chimera found a way to make the best brush for miniature painting? Let's find out together on my good old piece of paper. So I've been making some practice using this brush, which I recently received thanks to a collaboration with Chimera. And I feel like I can tell you guys a few things about it that will make you interested in it. I'm not trying to sell it to you. I'm just giving you my straightforward opinion like I usually do in my Twitch streams and my Patreon and everywhere else. So I've been using this brush quite a bit in working on this lady, especially to doing some gradients, to layer color in, just to check out how it works. If you are interested, by the way, in the paint job, you will find very soon the finished paint job on my Patreon in case you want to know about it. But anyway, so I have a piece of paper here because I want to show you the brush stroke of the brush without having the model and all of the painting tutorial thing in the way, and just show you the brush. A very brief and hopefully not boring history of brush, though, for mini painting is that we've been always using watercolor brushes in our work. That's because Winsor & Newton was like the big boy brush for a long time, and then we started using brushes from all possible companies, but at the same time, it's true that they've always been watercolor brushes. That means that in our painting, when we work on something that has actually a shape and has an edge, and the details are a bit rough, maybe a fur or whatever, the brush will get ruined very quickly because it's a watercolor brush. It's made to be painted on paper with soft, gentle brush strokes, not to go around an edge of a mini or details, you know? So Chimera came up with a couple of ideas that really make this brush interesting, and as you can see, the handle is squished. That's because the shape of the brush is not rounded technically, but it's pyramidal, triangular, if you want to call it like that. It's a triangular shape. That means that you can do a couple of really cool things with this brush. The first one is that by having a squished bottom, the bristles are sticking together a lot better, meaning that they're not going to come off and the brush is not going to lose shape nearly as much as rounded brushes do, but you still get the coolness of the round brush, which is the big belly, but you also get the power in a way of the line brush by using the side of it. Now you might be thinking that it's a bit uncomfortable to use a brush that has different shapes depending on how you move it, but you will find out if you ever get to try one of these that it really feels automatic, like your brain automatically changes the brush depending on what you're trying to achieve. I didn't have to practice it at all, it just happened. So let me show you what I mean. If I have a base coat paint, so I have just a random magenta on my palette that I have thinned with a bit of water, and I'm loading the brush in it. So if I have a base coat consistency and I want to base coat something, I can just push the brush and slide it like this. And I get a really nice coverage and a really chunky brush stroke that is perfect for base coating. If I want to do a line with the brush, all I got to do is twist the brush, and you see that it goes back into perfect shape. And if I want to do a line, I can just use the side of it that is more cutting, and I will do lines. So if you're trying to texture with a brush like this, like let's say you're painting fur, or you're painting a textured metallic, or you're just trying to draw a line, this is great because it allows you to do that as well. On top of that, one thing that is very important to know about brushes, which many people don't know, is the stability of the tip. That means that, for example, Winsor & Newton is a very renowned brand of brushes, although the quality control is kind of awful lately, in a sense that you're basically playing a gacha game when you buy them. 1 out of 3 will be good, and then if you make some calculations, basically one brush will cost you $60 because not every brush that you buy is good, meaning that you're basically wasting 2 to get 1. Chimera has told me that they paid more money to be able to have another level of quality control added to the brushes before they are actually delivered, which means that on at least a technical level, most, if not all, in a perfect world, brushes that you get from them will be always on top of quality, which would be absolutely amazing. So that said, one thing that makes Winsor & Newton brushes good when you actually get a good brush is that the tip remains compact as you slide it against a surface, meaning that when you're doing layering and glazing, the brush, the bristles don't split as you slide it on the surface, and they don't create that something that we all have seen in our painting. You know, you're trying to doing it like a layer, a very nice layer or a glaze, and you see like a lot of lines in it. That's because the brush is spreading open on the surface of the Mini, and it creates lines because each single bristle is applying paint separately on the surface, some more cleanly, others more heavily. But when you use a brush like this, or Winsor & Newton, but in this case this, and you thin the paint a little bit more, and you try to do a layer, you will notice that the bristles, especially if you use the flat part of the brush, the bristles do not move. They stay in shape. You don't get a spreading open of the brush, and you can see that each layer that I just painted is perfectly covering. Of course, I'm running out of paint, so the paint now is starting to basically break up, but not because the brush is an issue here, but because I don't have enough paint on the brush. And if I want to do a glaze with this, same thing. I can just thin the paint a little bit more. If you want, you can watch my glazing video to learn how to change consistency of your paint very easily. But if I want to do a glaze, again, using the flat side of the brush, I can just wee. You need to make the sound. If you don't make the sound, it doesn't come out as a glaze. See, the brush stroke is very, very clean. And it's really nice. So that's my 50 cents on these brushes. Again, I don't like making super long videos for the algorithm. I make a video every 2 years anyway. But one thing I'll say, the only thing I don't think this particular brush is good at, the only thing is stippling. Because having such a strong triangular tip, it's very easy for you to get more of a line than a dot of paint. Luckily, though, you are rescued, because in case you don't like this new agey way of doing brushes, Chimera is also making normal rounded brushes like this one, which are also really good. And again, like price tag wise, I have been told they are about Winsor & Newton price, but with the quality control added to them, that means that they are better, just simply better. Winsor & Newton are the best brushes you can buy when it comes to quality for layering and glazing and base coating when you get a good brush out of the batch. If all of these brushes are going to be good quality, there is no question asked. You should probably, if you are a Winsor & Newton user, you should definitely give these brushes a try. I use Rubloff a lot, which are brushes that are a lot stiffer for painting, because I like doing lots of like dots and lines and stuff. But I have been using this brush consistently in the last couple of days since I've received it, because I really enjoy using it. It's just comfortable. Also, the handle is comfortable to use. Like, I know it's a brush. I mean, it's a squirrel butt for on top of a stick of wood. But I mean, the handle does matter, because it's a very nice surface to hold in your hand. It doesn't slide off of your hand. It's comfortable to the touch. It's a bit chunkier at the bottom, so it fits well nicely on your holding hand. And again, this squished base here is incredible. And again, I've been really bashing this brush. I know you haven't seen me do it in this video, but trust me on this. I've dry brushed with it. I have done some horrible things to this brush just to try it, and it's still going back into a shape. Like I can really squish it. I can really squish it. See, like it's fucked. Sorry for the French, but if I use my beautiful mouth, or I simply twist it, you know, twisting the brush like this, goes back into a perfect shape, and it is kind of impressive. So this is all I have to say about this brush. If you want to, you can join me on my Twitch stream, where I stream pretty much every day, where you can ask me questions about these brushes, but about painting in general. I paint a lot there, box arts, commissions for companies, or again, my Patreon, where I have guides like this one coming up that I hope you will enjoy, or just picking another one up, just completely at random, just to show you, you know, trying to sell my work in a way. This lady here with her OSL, she's also on my Patreon. So the link to my Twitch, Instagram, and everything will be in a comment at the bottom of the video. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in 4 years when I make another video. Bye bye.